Now, today isn't your ordinary Tuesday. For the first time ever, June 1st is officially Wear Your Uggs Day.
That's it. You thought we were being slack for a minute? No, we weren't. Presented by UGG EXPRESS in support of the Black Dog Institute. They're raising awareness and support for those who are struggling with mental health. To tell us more, Kelly Burns and Professor Jennie HUDSON from the Black Dog Institute join us now. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, girls. Now, this one hits home. Kelly, you lost your brother, Sean, a good friend of mine, nearly 10 years ago. We were talking off air about it.
Yes.
I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was at training at Tigers and one of the players ran out and had tears in his eyes and he said to us, and everyone dropped. First thing I did is run to my phone to try and call him. I couldn't believe it. And that moment did change my life forever.
Wow.
How's the impact been on you and your family? I know you were extremely close.
Yeah, we were. Look, as you said, it's nearly 10 years ago now, so it's not a matter of ever getting past something like that. It's certainly a matter of integrating it into our lives. I made a decision at that point to get involved in breaking down stigma because to me that was the roadblock to Sean being able to get the help that he so badly needed. So through volunteering with the Black Dog Institute and other things that I've done, I think it's really important that we start conversations around mental health.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about Sean's death that struck so many people, and you can probably support this, is that everyone was so stunned. He was highly functioning, he'd been highly successful in a few different careers, so it was that whole sense of you don't know what's going on in people's minds, and we have to be able to have these conversations. We have to take away the shame around having these conversations, and so, yeah, that's what the Black Dog Institute's all about as well.
It was, nearly 10 years ago we spoke off air about it, but the worrying thing, you know, I thought about this all night, and I spoke to Tristan early this morning. He was a man's man. He was a wonderful dad, a leader, great worker, you know, good with the club, someone I really looked up to. And if I had to line up 100 of my mates, he would be the last person that I'd pick that would do this. So has that changed people's perception on this? Is that one of your key messages?
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And that's been the recurring theme of all the policemen that he used to work with and the NRL players that he used to train and mentor is, how did we not know? How were we not aware? Why didn't he tell us? And that gets back to stigma, because there's no way in the world he would ever have felt comfortable of reaching out to someone like you and saying, I'm struggling. And that's the issue. How do we break down that barrier that we can have these conversations a lot more freely and without the shame associated around that?
Most definitely. And it's a huge topic of debate right now as well, with everything surrounding COVID as well. You know, and it's kind of... I guess there's a lot of anxiety in everyone in everyday life now. It's what should we be looking out for when it comes to...
Jennie?
Well, I think everybody has been affected by COVID in different ways, particularly at the moment. Some of the research that we've done at the Black Dog Institute has shown that actually 80% of people in the study that we conducted actually reported that their mental health was worsened as a result of COVID. So that's a lot of us that are experiencing that. And it may be through kind of just feeling that life is a bit uncertain and you might be a bit more worried and stressed than usual. And we know that that leads to more anxiety and more sadness, more depression perhaps. And in a study we also, in a separate study we conducted, children and young people are experiencing very similar things. In that study we showed that 3/4 of young people actually said that their mental health has been worsened as a result of COVID. So it is something to worry about, and that we need to do something about it, and looking out for our friends.
How do we approach that situation? The reason I'm asking this is because certainly from my point of view, I've had friends who unfortunately have taken their own lives over time as well, and there's a guilt and a shame involved with ourselves as well, in that we didn't know how to help, and for someone in myself who has also struggled with their own mental health issues over time. Trying to feel comfortable enough to reach out, like you said, your brother might not have, to someone like Bo, not to someone like you, sorry, but to reach out to anyone, you know, trying to find it within yourself, but also trying to help someone who might be going through it as well. Is there any kind of patterns that may help? Or...
Yeah, I think having these conversations is really important, because hearing from people that, you know, a lot of us are experiencing problems with mental health, and that's normal, and that people like you might experience problems as well, and that's just normal, and that helps to break down. One of the most effective ways of breaking down that stigma is just telling stories and hearing from other people that, you know, it's okay to struggle with your mental health, and it's okay to reach out for help, because that's one of the really important things that we need to be able to do now. And kind of the first step is just to acknowledge, maybe I'm not coping as well as I thought, and if it's talking to a friend or talking to the GP is a really good step to actually get professional help. But trying to encourage and being a listening ear as well when people are talking to you about their issues and that maybe the only person that they're reaching out to, and just listening and having a really good listening ear, no judgment, I think is really important, and just having that kind of listening.
Normalising. I think having had my own struggles as well, if you start that conversation with somebody, it's amazing the feedback you then get back and say, well, I'm so glad you shared that with me because I actually have had the same struggles. But if you're prepared to go first, I think that opens up those conversations. And men in particular, you're not necessarily wired that way as naturally, and it's just something that I think you need to be aware of.
I think for me, a lot was based around kind of ego as well.
Oh, absolutely.
In the sense that you can struggle, or you're struggling with things that a lot of people seem as though they're not.
You think you're the only one.
You think you're the only one, and you kind of go, oh, well, I can't talk about this because it's not a problem for them.
Yes.
But I'm finding the problem, so it's...
Yeah.
And when you look at the stats at the moment, 80% of us are experiencing more mental health problems than we were as a result of COVID. So that's a lot of us that are experiencing difficulties. So, if you do talk about it, you're not going to be alone at the moment.
I know.
Yeah,
absolutely. And how's Sean's family doing now? He's got 2 gorgeous girls.
Beautiful girls, beautiful wife. He'd be very proud. They've living great lives, and he'd be very proud that we're having these conversations. Ironically, and that's the positive that comes out of these things, like often happens in life.
And sometimes you hear these stories, and it's really overwhelming. It's kind of hard to know what to do, but today we're wearing UGG boots. So UGG EXPRESS are very kindly donating 10% of their sales of Uggs today. So if you don't have a pair, you can go out and buy a pair.
Today's the day.
Today's the day. Fantastic, Wear Your Uggs Day.
Yeah.
And how do we donate to you guys at the Black Dog as well?
Yeah, you can go straight to our website, Black Dog Institute, and donate directly or through UGG EXPRESS.
Oh, great. Well, we're celebrating Wear Your Uggs Day in the studio here. And like I said, to get involved, head to uggexpress.com.au and make a direct donation to the Black Dog Institute. Kelly and Jenny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
It's really, really
Great to
important.
see you guys.
It's great to speak out.
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.